Why'd you stab him? Why'd you stab him? What happened?
Stop postal worker.
Was it over a sandwich?
Was it over a sandwich?
I didn't touch you. Yo, Matt, get away! Yo, Matt! Yo, get away! Ah, you tight! You tight! Nah, fuck that! This nigga here!
It all started over who was first in line. Police tell us Hodges was inside of a Harlem deli when he was stabbed to death. Sources say Hodges got into an argument with another customer, identified as 24-year-old Jaia Cruz.
This is the story of Jaia Cruz, a 24-year-old transgender woman who stabbed a man to death because he wanted to get ahead of him in line to purchase food. On January 2, 2025, she stabbed and killed Ray Hodges, a 36-year-old USPS postal worker, during a heated argument inside a Harlem deli. Hello and welcome to Twisted Crimes. Subscribe and hit the like button for more stories. Jaia Cruz, born in 2000, grew up in Harlem, New York City. She lived on West 118th Street, a neighborhood deeply rooted in history and known for its vibrant culture and tight-knit community. Harlem has long been recognized as a cultural hub, celebrated for its influence in music, art, and social movements. However, it has also faced challenges, including economic disparities and crime. Jaia's upbringing was shaped by these contrasting realities. Standing at approximately 6 feet 5 inches, Jaia's physical presence was impossible to ignore. Her height made her a noticeable figure in her community, whether walking through her neighborhood streets or interacting with others. Despite the strong sense of community in Harlem, Jaia's early years were marked by difficulties and instability. These challenges contributed to her repeated encounters with law enforcement. By 2025, at the age of 24, Jaia Cruz had been arrested 5 times. These arrests painted a troubling picture of a young woman grappling with unresolved issues and recurring cycles of conflict. One notable incident occurred in July 2020 in Midtown West, Manhattan. Jaia allegedly confronted an individual while holding an open box cutter, shouting, "I'm going to cut him." This is a video of her where she was being disrespectful to everyone at the scene of an incident.
Gangsta! Yo, this nigga keep going! What's up with you, bro?
You swinging at me?
Oh, don't swing at me, bro. I gotta do that.
Man.
I don't know.
The big one.
Yo, Mac, we out, man.
I'm sorry, Lord. I'm sorry.
Wow.
We out, Mac. Them niggas done left. Yo, Mac! Yo, Mac! Yo, Mac! Yo, Mac! Yo, don't, I'll kill you, bro. I'll kill you, bro. I didn't touch you. Yo, Mac, get away! Yo, Mac! Yo, get away! Ah, you tight! You tight! Nah, fuck that! This nigga, yeah, look at you, nigga! Yo, look at that! Look at that fucking nigga's bugging. Put that nigga in jail. Fuck that shit. Yo. Come on, we out. Why trying to swing that guy, bro? Trying to swing that. She's trying to call Yo, we out. I know it. She had to say something fucked up now.
When police arrived on the scene and ordered her to the ground, she refused to comply, resulting in a charge of resisting arrest.
And then one of them bum ass niggas took my wallet.
What the fuck? He or she? Yo, we out.
Merely 2 weeks later, Jaia found herself in legal trouble again. This time, she was arrested for participating in an armed robbery. The details of the crime indicated that a knife had been used during the incident, further solidifying a troubling pattern of violent encounters. These early run-ins with the law highlighted deep-rooted behavioral issues and possibly unaddressed mental health concerns. However, the justice system's repeated interventions did little to redirect Jaia's trajectory, leaving her on a collision course with more severe consequences. Despite her recurring presence in legal records, very little is publicly known about Jaia Cruz's personal relationships. Information regarding her family, close friends, or romantic connections is largely absent from public records and news reports. On January 2, 2025, at approximately 2:30 p.m., Jaia Cruz entered Joe's Grocery, a small neighborhood deli located at 168 Lenox Avenue in Harlem. The deli, like many others in the area, was a local staple where residents frequently stopped for quick meals and conversations. Inside the deli that afternoon was Ray Hodges, a 36-year-old USPS postal worker and father of 2 young children. Ray was on duty but had stopped by the deli to grab lunch. Known among colleagues and friends as a kind and dedicated worker, Ray was simply in the wrong place at the wrong time. Witnesses reported that an argument broke out between Jaia and Ray over who was next in line to place an order. While disagreements in crowded delis are not uncommon, this one quickly escalated. Jaia reportedly became agitated and began shouting. Witnesses said she then spit in Ray's face, an act that further intensified the confrontation. In a shocking escalation, Jaia pulled out a small steak knife and stabbed Ray multiple times in the chest, neck, and arms. The violence was swift and brutal, leaving Ray critically injured on the deli floor.
Just like, I want to get, like, why did you order before me? Like, I should have ordered before you, you should order before me. And just because of that, like, you know, I mean, I'm sure one of them should have had let it go, you know, but none of them let it go. And one of them, the thing is that one of them was armed. What happened yesterday was so sad, you know, like, the guy was just doing his job. He came in to get a sandwich. Like, how do you stab somebody 7 times? Like,
yeah.
You think now we should not stop? Do you think the one time could have been enough?
Yeah.
Like 7 times?
Emergency services were immediately called, and Ray was rushed to Harlem Hospital. Despite the efforts of medical personnel, he succumbed to his injuries shortly after arrival. The incident shocked both the deli patrons and the surrounding community.
News out of Harlem that we mentioned.
That's right, a postal worker dead after being stabbed to death on the job. Let's get out to Kendall Green, who's live in Harlem with the latest. Kendall.
Hey, good evening, Stephen, Teresa. We're live at this active scene. You can tell there's still plenty of police activity out here. If we're going to push in to this deli where it happened, you can still see what appears to be this postal worker's equipment still just outside the front door of this this deli. Now, the NYPD, here's what we know so far. The NYPD got the 911 call for an assault here on Malcolm X Boulevard and West 118th Street here in Harlem. They arrived here on scene to find an on-duty postal worker who had been stabbed, we're told. Now, medics rushed the 36-year-old victim to Harlem Hospital, where unfortunately doctors there pronounced him dead. Now, but for perspective, this is a postal worker, we're assuming, somewhere along his route, stabbed to death. Now, it's unclear what his relationship was with the person who stabbed him, or if they know each other, or why it happened. But we know this mailman went to work sometime today, we're sure with the expectation to make it home, and after this stabbing, he did not. Now, the USPS, they shared a statement regarding this stabbing, sharing, quote, "The suspect was apprehended and is still in custody. USPS has taken this matters involving the safety and well-being of Postal Service employees as a top priority. We're working diligently with the New York Police Department on this investigation." Now,
a seemingly minor argument had spiraled into a deadly encounter, leaving one man dead and another person's life forever altered. In the aftermath of the stabbing, Jaia Cruz fled the scene. The NYPD launched an immediate manhunt, focusing their efforts on the Harlem area where Jaia was known to reside. Later that evening, police apprehended her at her apartment on West 118th Street. The arrest reportedly occurred without resistance, a stark contrast to her previous interactions with law enforcement.
Why did you stab a postal worker?
Was it over a sandwich?
Was it over a sandwich?
No, no.
Given Jaia's criminal history, which included multiple arrests for violent behavior involving weapons, authorities treated the case with the highest level of seriousness. She was taken into custody and charged with second-degree murder and first-degree manslaughter. These charges reflected both the gravity of her actions and her past criminal behavior.
In New York City, the violent death of a 36-year-old postal worker has his family and friends struggling to understand his senseless death. He was fatally stabbed at a deli yesterday, and police believe it was all over a sandwich. And now a woman is in custody, charged with his death. Eyewitness News reporter Janice Yu live in Harlem with more. Janice.
Well, David, that suspect is now charged with first-degree murder, and records show she has at least 2 prior arrests, both involving knives. Meantime, the family of this victim, they're heartbroken, and they're trying to make sense of why this had to happen. The warmth from dozens of candles could be felt on a frigid Friday morning as friends and neighbors stopped by the Mott Haven houses to remember the life of Ray Hodges.
I watched him grown up, and to see him, go from one stage of life to the next to better himself was anything you could ask from a kid.
This friend tells Eyewitness News he and Hodge grew up together in the Bronx.
We all love them in the community. It's a tragic loss. We're going to celebrate him, and we're going to keep his spirit alive.
He says the 36-year-old took his kids to school every morning, and he took care of his mother. He loved sports and music. He says he could have never imagined Hodge would be killed in such a senseless manner.
Honorable, stand up. Integrity, morals, principles. He was one of the good young boys we had out here, you heard?
Police say the 36-year-old postal worker was on the job when he was stabbed and killed inside this deli on Lenox Avenue and West 118th Street Thursday afternoon. An employee of this deli says this violent confrontation between Hodge and a 24-year-old named Jaia Cruz started over something trivial.
There was argument about who's gonna order first. So they start arguing. We try to break between them, and we separate them.
Authorities say the 36-year-old was stabbed multiple times, and Cruz is now charged with first-degree murder. Those who knew Hodge say this is yet another sobering reminder of how quickly life can change.
Nobody knows what tomorrow is going to bring, so we got to cherish the people that we love, the minute in the moment we have them.
The swift arrest brought some measure of relief to a community reeling from the violence that had unfolded earlier in the day. The NYPD, in collaboration with the United States Postal Inspection Service, USPS, launched a thorough investigation into the stabbing. Investigators meticulously collected evidence from the crime scene, including the steak knife used in the attack, which was found discarded near a pool of blood outside the deli. Witness statements played a crucial role in reconstructing the events leading up to the fatal confrontation. Multiple patrons had witnessed the argument and the violent escalation that followed. Surveillance footage from the deli's security cameras provided additional clarity, capturing key moments of the altercation. The investigation also examined Jaia Cruz's criminal history, highlighting a recurring pattern of violent behavior. Prosecutors were keen to establish this pattern as part of their case against her. The investigation underscored systemic failures in addressing Jaia's repeated encounters with the law and the missed opportunities to intervene effectively. On January 3, 2025, Jaia Cruz was arraigned in a New York City courtroom. The charges against her included second-degree murder and first-degree manslaughter. During the arraignment, the prosecution emphasized Jaia's criminal history, detailing her past arrests and the repeated instances of violent behavior involving weapons. The prosecution argued that Jaia posed a significant threat to public safety and requested that she be held without bail. The judge agreed, citing both the severity of the current charges and her criminal history. As a result, Jaia was remanded into custody pending trial. A message seeking comment was left for Jaia's public defender, but no statement was provided at the time. The arraignment marked the beginning of what promised to be a high-profile and emotionally charged legal battle. Even though he's gone, his impact lives on, reminding us all of how fragile life is and the devastating toll of violence. Our deepest condolences to the family of Ray Hodges. May his soul continue to rest in peace.